The world outside continued its steady pace, indifferent to the horrors buried behind the worn brick walls of 25 Cromwell Street. But inside the quiet of the Gloucester police station, something had shifted. Investigators no longer chased shadows. They were pulling skeletons into daylight. Fred sat silently across from the detectives, his breathing steady, his face void of expression. The room was stale, still heavy with the air of unspoken things. He had long learned the power of silence, how it masked, how it protected. But this time it had started to betray him. A name here, a location there. Then, without ceremony, he said the word Heather. He didn't cry, he didn't shake. He simply nodded when asked if she was dead. The room fell still. One of the officers looked away, as though staring too long into the eyes of a monster might let something escape. Heather West, their daughter, the one who had vanished under whispers and confusion, the one they said had gone to work abroad. Her story had ended in the back garden, buried, silenced like so many others. The lie had outlasted the girl. When the back garden was dug up, even the hardened officers were unprepared. Beneath the earth was not just Heather. There were bones wrapped in sheets, remains tied with cords. Some had been under there for over a decade, others barely recognizable. The soil told a story that no one wanted to hear. Rose didn't speak at first. She wore her usual blankness, a woman who had become a master of denial. She insisted she knew nothing, that Fred was a liar, a monster, that he acted alone. But neighbors remembered the screaming, the children's cries that always stopped too suddenly, the sounds in the night. Rose had been there. She hadn't just known, she had played her part. One survivor, now grown, came forward. Her voice shook, her hands too. She remembered being led into the basement, remembered what Fred did, what Rose did, together. Not one abuser, but two, feeding off each other, twisting love into violence, home into prison. Word spread fast. 25 Cromwell Street became more than an address. It became a myth, a nightmare, a wound in the British psyche. Reporters circled like vultures, crowds gathered. People wept without knowing why. Fred, cornered, began confessing in fragments. Names, times, little details. But he was careful, calculated, always keeping the worst pieces for himself. Rose, however, dug her nails into denial, even when faced with the bones, even when her own children looked at her with disgust. She would not break. The media didn't know where to look first. The house, the victims, the survivors. There were too many stories, too much pain stitched into every wall of that cursed home. The Wests weren't just serial killers. They were a system, a machine of manipulation and cruelty, hiding in plain sight. Police found more. Diaries, photos, trophies, pieces of 100 broken lives stored in plastic boxes, in closets, beneath floorboards. With each new discovery, another family was shattered, another wound reopened. In court, Fred started to realize he wouldn't make it out. His bravado cracked. His eyes flickered. In the dark of his cell, he wrote letters to Rose. Strange ramblings about love, about unity, about staying silent. He begged her not to betray him, but she already had, and she would again. One night before dawn, Fred wrapped a bedsheet around his neck. The prison was quiet. He hung himself with the same brutal simplicity he used to end others. It was a cold death, no redemption, no justice. Rose woke up to the news and didn't cry. She barely blinked. Alone now, exposed. The trial would continue without Fred. But the story was far from over. The true weight of their crimes had yet to be revealed. More victims, more testimony, and a country forced to ask itself how such evil had lived, undetected, among them for so long.